Hello and welcome to Take 6. I am streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. She is out on assignment today and tomorrow, so I'll be here with you until she returns. Of course, she'll be back on News 6 at 4, giving you all of your weather that you need for your day. Coming up today, weather is going to play a big part in what we're talking about. Florida has seen historic winter weather, especially in the north, where they have seen inches of snow, almost unheard of here in the Sunshine State. We'll get to that in just a second. We're also going to be looking at an effort from a group called Jew Belong to start conversations about antisemitism, which has been on the rise here in the United States. And we're going to get an insider guide look at a record-breaking photographer and his work. All that will be coming up in just a few minutes. But like I said, first we got to talk about the weather. Let's take a quick look outside. This is Daytona Beach. As you can see, it is gray. It is dreary. It's been raining all morning through the night. And now it's just a gloomy, gloopy kind of day. So that's nothing, though, compared to what they've been seeing up in North Florida. North Florida had several inches of snow. You can see it was just coming down. The beaches covered. That's not sand. That is snow that we were seeing. Icicles hanging. It is almost unheard of for this part of Florida, for any part of Florida, really, to see this much snow. So to tell us more about all this historic snowstorm, and then the cold and wet that we're experiencing here, we are joined now by News 6 digital meteorologist David Nazario. David, how are you doing?
Very good. A little tired tracking all this wintry weather, especially as prolific of a snowstorm we had for the northern half of the Florida area. How about you, though?
Not too bad, not too bad. I mean, I'm from the north, so I'm a little used to snow. Certainly not seen the 6 years that I've been here. You're a native Floridian. Have you ever experienced the snow in person, at least in Florida?
Not in Florida, no. I know since growing up in Central Florida, can't testify to the 10 years I was away with the Air Force, but I know prior to that we had a dusting here or there, but never had heard of 4, 6, 8, 10 inches of snow for the Panhandle. Definitely shattered all sorts of records out there over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, so just so people are aware, the worst of this, the snow part of this, is over for those people up north, correct?
It is, yep. We are all said and done. We have a lot of that Arctic dry air building in on the backside of the system that brought it all down to begin with. And as such, temperatures are going to stay below freezing, so that snow should stick around for another day or two, I would say. And as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and let's rock right in here. Let's see what we got going on. The next big thing. It's going to be cold. As Thomas already alluded to, you're going to stay cold at least for a little longer. I do have good news if you're one of the Floridians who like the 70, 80 degree weather. Rock with me, watch to the end here in a second. So first and foremost, moving on into our weather headlines. Let's take a look. Right now, we have the Arctic air pushing south. The winds are going to stay elevated as a result. Last night, it kind of harkened back to hurricane season. It kind of sounded like Milton was rolling through again at my house. I got in around 9:30, 10 o'clock from News 6, and as I was getting ready for bed, I could hear the winds just blasting outside alongside the rain. By the weekend, the coldest air of the season. And I know, you're probably reading that thinking, hold up. We just had a winter storm roll through. The northern portion of Florida is blanketed by snow coverage, and we're still not in the coldest air yet. No, I'm here to tell you that as that Arctic air slowly comes down, if you've watched any of our morning weather updates, I always mention that cold air has a slope to it if you look at it three-dimensionally. We receive it down here, but it is slow to move, slow to meander, kind of like lava from a Hawaiian volcano or molasses in wintertime, no pun intended. And then what's ahead, models do tend to favor at least one last potential storm system we'll have to keep an eye on for next week before the warm-up, before the big thaw. The next big thing will be the warm-up coming down the pike. Now, moving us over to our water vapor satellite shot, you can see that trough is extending down through the central and eastern United States, with the base of it slowly but surely working its way through our viewing area here. And on the leading edge of that, now passing through Myrtle Beach, Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, that big old band of blue, dark blue shading over the western Atlantic, that is our winter storm. And you can see the dry air and the clearing skies are building in very quickly for much of Florida and the southeast. On the visible satellite earlier, we we pulled up the true color visible shot, and you could see the actual snow band, the dendritic snow as it's called, across the terrain itself through the visible satellite shot. You could see it visibly now that the skies have completely cleared. And if we switch on over to the radar, you'll notice as we started the day today after sunrise, we saw a lot of the showers and storms that we were dealing with. I should say showers. There were no storms. In fact, a lot of us, including myself, were a little over the rainfall because it was just that steady, annoying, nothing exciting, beneficial for a lot of our lawn and gardens out there, but wasn't anything really overly exciting. And so that is finally come and gone, and you can see the snowfall for much of the southeast has concluded. Looks like Cape Hatteras is still chilling with some of the snow showers up there just on the immediate northeast coast of the Carolinas, but a lot of us are going to dry out. We were examining some possibilities of a little bit of rain returning for tomorrow, but with as much dry air we have building in, we'll have to see just how much coverage can extend over our viewing area. Maybe a spotty shower at best as we continue to see some of that onshore flow out of the west, out of the Gulf, associated with that base of the trough, helping to push across the eastern United States that could possibly try to sling some moisture our way. And then this is what I think is going to start to make some headlines. A big flip, a massive flip in our pattern out there. If you look at the latest temperature outlook, courtesy of Climate Prediction Center, Florida, let alone the eastern United States, are no longer bathed in dark shades of blue. And in fact, a familiar sight for Florida has returned. We're back in the tan sand colors, meaning we will be above average as we go through my birthday on February 1st. It looks like that could be when our next storm system tries to manifest itself before a big warm up. And I'll walk you through why it is I do think we're going to see another storm system out there before winter really calms its jets. No pun intended. So taking a look at the jet, you can see here that trough is extending over the central and eastern United States. The full extent of it has yet to arrive. If I fast forward through Thursday and then into Friday, notice how the southern tip of that trough is now finally starting to move its way through the upper Gulf coastline into the Florida panhandle. And as a result, because of that slope that we get from these kind of Arctic air masses, that gradual slope as you ascend the atmosphere, that cold air is going to bleed down into central Florida, where as we start the day on Saturday, our overnight low temperature could be in the mid-30s down as far south as Polk and Osceola County, which means the further north you go, Lake, Sumter, Orange, Seminole, and so on, we could be in the upper 20s as your actual air temperature. Let me reemphasize that. The last couple times we've had 20s on our charts, they have been the feels like temperatures. This will be your actual air temperature with a little bit more of the wind chill involved, so it could feel like the 20s for everybody out there as we start the weekend. It will be clear, but because of how thick and dense this Arctic air is, the sun is really going to do very little, at least in the immediate future, to warm us up. But then by Sunday, and then especially next week, that warm up already begins. And then if you watch, I'll take us full. I want you to watch what happens out west here. Or we're looking over here on this side of the chart because this is going to influence our weather as we get into next week, not only with the warming trend, but a possible return of showers and potential storms. As I go through Saturday and then into Sunday, we're seeing a very familiar sight over the southwest. This is unfortunate for California because we're trying to get rid of that Santa Ana setup. Granted, this positioning here on Monday is the opposite. If you think about the way the winds rotate around this area of low pressure, they're coming onshore now, not going offshore. So that is good news. But as that system continues to move, there it is. We're back under that Santa Ana setup for SoCal, so they better be watching this very closely and taking some preemptive measures now. But then notice as that next bowling ball feature, that upper low, begins to exit the southern plains, the desert southwest, out over the southeast, we're back under those shades of yellow and orange, which means the warm air is pumping in, which is why next week, believe it or not, some of our models, including the GFS, are thinking we could see the 80s come back around as we get ready to exit January, the month of January, a prolific and historic January that it has been in terms of our wintry weather. So we're definitely going to keep a close eye on that. In the meantime, however, not a whole lot is going to be going on. This is going to be our most recent clouds and rain brought to us by our internal model. You can see to our northeast there associated with the cold front and our leftover winter storm now in the western Atlantic. The showers and the moisture are going to go away as we go through the afternoon today, overnight tonight. See that next little secondary cold push pushing in over the northern portions of our viewing area. The clouds are starting to clear. A little bit of moisture tomorrow. You can see it kind of pulling away with the cold front, but again, the models have trended away from there being a whole lot of showers that we'll have to deal with here in interior parts of Florida. And then as that secondary cold push comes through, we start to see our clouds go away, and into the weekend, it'll be even colder as more high pressure, Arctic high pressure builds in. So we definitely have colder temps to do battle with. We have one final hoorah of winter to do battle with before we can finally start to get back to a sense of normalcy here in Florida, especially for those of you out there who have been waiting for the warm-up. And if you look, Wednesday today, the high temp of 52 with those spotty showers trying to make an appearance. I say trying because right now the radar is clear. We'll have to see what tries to push in off our west coast, and then look at the difference. Sunday, looking at a high of 73 degrees. And then last but certainly not least, before we wrap up, let's go ahead and take a look at your pinpoint accurate forecast for the next 7 days. Starting out very cold Friday into Saturday. Note the temperature there, 37 degrees. That could possibly drop. The GFS is the outlier, keeping us at about 37 to 38 degrees, whereas the National Weather Service blend of models, the NDFD, the Euro, and so on, all keep us in the low to mid-30s. So that could be adjusted before we rapidly accelerate back towards a traditional feel for Central Florida by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Back to you, Thomas.
Oof. That is some whiplash for you, like going down in the 30s, possibly into the 20s, and then jetting right back up again to the 70s.
Quite literally, yeah.
Yeah.
In like 12 to 18 hours, just whoop.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know that I've experienced, 10, 15, 20 degree swings. I don't know if I've ever quite experienced a 50-degree swing like that in such a short period of time. It's pretty wild. And like you're right, like there's no moisture in the air. You would expect, like a bright sunny day to be nice and warm, but like when you get those after the snowstorm dry air come in, there's nothing insulating anything. You'll just get these chrome blue skies with no clouds in sight, and then it's just frigid. Yeah. Oh.
Exactly. So some nice days ahead, but couple things. First and foremost, be prepared. It is going to be cold regardless of if the sun is shining. And we talked about this briefly yesterday at the end of our live coverage of the winter storm event. Get your rest, get your vitamins, your minerals, and take care of yourself, because we are going up and down, and as a result, your immune system could possibly cave into all this cold, warm whiplash, as Thomas was just saying. So take care of yourselves, folks. We're going to be out of the cold weather soon enough. Trust me, it's on the horizon. We can see it.
I judging from our comment section, I know there's a lot of Floridians who are very much looking forward to that.
Most definitely. I'm one of them, I'll admit. I'm ready for some mild temps again.
Yeah, right, especially leading into your birthday. Happy pre-birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hopefully it's a good time. We'll see. It looks like it's going to be in the 80s, to tell you the truth, so good barbecue weather.
Wow, nice. All right, well, David, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. We'll talk to you soon.
All righty, have a good one.
You as well. All right, we will be following the cold throughout the week as it comes and goes. And as I said, Julie Broughton will have all of that for you coming up on News 6 at 4. Right now, we're going to take a short 2-minute break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at efforts to start conversations about fighting anti-Semitism here in Florida, and we'll be taking a look at a record-breaking photographer with Insider Guide, Crystal Moyer. All that's coming up in 2 minutes. The time now is 12:45. Thank you for staying with us here on Take 6. I'm streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. She's out on assignment. Around Florida, we have seen several demonstrations from anti-Semitic and neo-Nazi groups over the past several years. And in fact, the Anti-Defamation League says that this is a national trend, with the number of anti-Semitic occurrences and events happening has quadrupled just in 2023 alone. Right now, there is a group trying to spark conversations about fighting anti-Semitism here in the Sunshine State and across the country. It's a program called Jew Belong. And as they point out, only about 2% of the population here in the United States, myself included, are of the Jewish faith. And so they feel that there is a need for allyship and to fight the scourge of anti-Semitism. News 6's Eric Von Aken spoke with the organizers, and he has more on their story.
Orlando, and you're on your way to the happiest place on earth, maybe in La La Land. This will pull you back to reality real quick. A billboard that says, "I need to be able to tell my children I did not stay silent." Or this billboard on the other side of the beach line. People on the right side of history never hide their faces.
Archie Gottesman is the co-founder of Jew Belong. It's the foundation in New York City, Archie, that is behind these billboards. I first should thank you because you're in New York and you made time for us over Zoom today. Has it really come to this, putting these billboards in the #1 tourist destination in the United States just to try and get people's attention?
It really has. And the reason is pretty logical, because there's only 2% of the entire country are Jewish people. So even if every Jew spoke out and stood up proudly against anti-Semitism, which is what the billboards do, it wouldn't be enough. So what Jew Belong is doing is we're talking to the 98% of people in this country who are not Jewish.
The Anti-Defamation League calculates Jewish hate almost tripled in the U.S. in just 1 year and recorded almost 4,000 anti-Semitic incidents nationwide in 2023, the most ever since they started keeping track. Here in Central Florida, I've reported on several of those awful incidents over the past several years, and local Jewish schools responding by protecting themselves with bulletproof glass and armed guards in military-style uniforms.
Yes, there is an actual fear.
And this is Aaron Bernstein. Aaron, you're the chair of the Jewish Community Relations Council. And how does our local Jewish community feel about these?
These are great, actually. They'll see that and it'll raise a question. What exactly should I be doing? Is there something I can do?
These are just 2 billboards of the 628 that Jew Belong has placed across roads in 33 states. These will stay up through April. And if they don't get results, remember, as of 2023, it is illegal in the state of Florida to harass somebody for their religion. Getting results along the beach line, Eric Von Aken, News 6.
Thank you for that report, Eric. And of course, you can find his full story on clickorlando.com with much more information there. So now turning a little bit, let's take a look at our insider content. We have some great insider content. If you are not a News 6 insider, then you should be. It is free and it gives you access to exclusive content and contests. And today, News 6 insider guide Crystal Moyer is showing us a record-breaking photographer here in the Sunshine State. Here's her story.
The whole plan behind the story was contrasting the beauty and calm, elegance of a model on something that otherwise would be decaying.
Steve Haining combined his 2 favorite hobbies, photography and deep sea diving, to tell this story. But he wanted a unique backdrop.
Finding a location that you couldn't build, finding a place that people have never gone to, and it became a personal challenge.
A challenge met off the coast of Pompano Beach, 163.3 feet deep into the Atlantic Ocean at the site of the Hydro shipwreck. This is video from that photo shoot. Steve, his model Sierra Antosky, and several safety divers descending on a cold December day.
I'm in a wetsuit and I'm cold, so the model is freezing, right?
Notice the divers with their wetsuits, tanks, and masks. Sierra, the model, in a dress without any scuba gear. Her safety diver administering oxygen through a mask. Then it's time to pose, Steve only having moments to capture photos before it's time for another break for air. And I know you're wondering, how do they communicate underwater without talking?
There's like hand signals that divers use.
The dive from beginning to end took about an hour, the photo shoot only lasting about 15 minutes. The experience would catch the attention of Guinness World Records as the deepest underwater model photo shoot in the world.
My favorite photo from this series is the one where Sierra's kind of like, she's standing off to the side and she's looking back at the structure. She's not just a model in that particular photo. She's like telling the story of the wreck. Like she's looking back at it. There, you can see like the structure's just towering over her. And then like the look on her face is just calm.
Calm because Sierra has done deep sea modeling before, having years of training and experience. Steve outfitting his camera with special equipment to be able to capture it all.
Folks are probably wondering, what the heck are you going to do with all these photos? Like, why take these photos?
This stuff, I hope, ultimately will end up in a gallery. I just want people to see it and just to appreciate that what they're looking at is a model in a place that most people will never see in their life, you know? And just like the amount of beauty that's in a location like that, that's just untouched by the world.
Yeah. I did ask Steve if he plans to attempt any more record-breaking feats. You could find his answer along with some photos and videos from his deep dive photo shoot in the article on clickorlando.com/insider. In the studio, Crystal Moyer, Getting Results News 6.
All right, as Crystal said, you can find all of that on clickorlando.com/insider. Again, it's free to sign up. It takes seconds to sign up, and you get access to that great story along with all of her Crystal's stories and other great content, including contests to win some amazing prizes. All of that is on clickorlando.com/insider. That'll do us for us today here on Take 6. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, Julie Broughton will be back for News 6 at 4 with your weather, and of course, we'll have all of your headlines for the day as well. Thank you so much for your time, and have a pleasant day.